Hi, welcome back to Dave's MySQL Basics. Now it's time for our first real select statement. I've already logged into the machine. I've done a \c for connect, root at localhost, the account I'm using in the machine, and I specified /world so I can use the world schema. After I logged in, I typed in \SQL to put us into SQL mode, and from there I typed in show tables. In the previous episode, you learned how to load the world database, and that database has 3 tables: city, country, and country language, and we'll actually be doing a query or two against that. Before we get much further, SQL is a descriptive programming language rather than procedural or object-oriented. It's also not imperative by default. There are some things we've done to it to make it imperative. That will be covered much later on. So, first query. We can actually use SQL as a calculator. A very expensive calculator, but it still can be a calculator. And as you see, it gave us the sum of 1 plus 1. Now I want to introduce the concept as an alias because this gets rather handy earlier. So if I type in select 1 plus 1 as, I'm going to put this in quotes, my total. You notice that instead of having the equation 1 plus 1, we now have the word my total. This is called aliasing the column output. Now, the tables that we're playing with or using for learning, one of them is called city. And if I type in describe, it's going to be lowercase because the table name is lowercase. If I type in describe city, we get the information about what is in this table, and in an upcoming episode we'll talk about data types, what null means, what all this stuff over here means. But right now we just want to worry about the first column. This table has 5 fields. First one is called ID, second one is called name, another one is called country code, another one is called district, and another one is called population. Now if we want to take a look at some of this data, now in this case there are many cities in the table. If I type in select star from city, where star is a wild card, if I type in star from city, you can do this on your own machine, but it's going to scroll for a long time. So I'm going to be a little more picky. I'm going to select the name field. I'm going to select the population field, and I can type this entire query on one line, or I can do it, break it up. I like to break it up because it makes it easier to read. And notice the little arrow marker here saying we're continuing on with the input. Now we have to select from a table. In this case we're using city. I'm going to hit return again. We want to specify certain cities. So we want to look at the ones where the country code, don't worry about it for now, this is something a column that someone's already preloaded with data. And what we're going to do is use the country code for Belgium. And we're going to refine it in a minute. So here we're going to go out and get the name of population from the city table, where the country code is equal to BEL. And as you can see, we have 9 answers here. There are 9 cities in our city table where the country code is equal to Belgium. Now, great thing about SQL, it's very powerful for refining information. We can actually come back here and modify our query. We're going to do it where we only want the cities where the country code is equal to Belgium and the population field has a value over 200,000, let's say. And that gives us 3 results. Now, SQL, since it is so powerful, also has a lot of options that can drive you a little crazy, the syntax can be a little different. What we're going to do this time is we're going to select name and population from city where country code equals Belgium. And instead of using and population, we're going to say having population greater than 200,000. Now something else we can do is we can order the output by name. Order and now we have the field names for name alphabetized. So why am I showing you all this for your first queries? Well, SQL is very, very powerful. The syntax is rather complex and often gets confusing. Everyone gets confused, even the people who have been using it for 30, 40 years. So don't worry about it. There's always a different way to do what needs to be done. And it comes down to personal preference whether you use something like a having or an and, whichever is the most logical and easiest to read. So please try these queries, and congratulations, you've done your first query.